I tried to be real factual for a few seconds there, and I realized that that it was going to have to end up being about me. So this is about my dad outside of Houston. This is about me. This is about northern Wisconsin. This is about Hank. This first one's about Hank's mother, and you read all the biographies, you listen religiously to his tunes, and you just hear that they didn't really necessarily see eye to eye on a lot of things. You just get this bad taste in your mouth somehow about the mother. But now I was not really raised by men. I was raised by women, much more so. So it was hard for me to put vinegar in my squirt gun about the mother. But this is a kind of anyway. Know that I love my mother. But so this is a real long poem. If you find your mind wandering, yes. But we'll try and get through it together. Okay. Calling pile of crushed oysters before the road crew drags. It's slick kid and flat and hard on the eyes. It's like it's glazed with rock salt, penny candy, and the stuff that breaks new nays from knackered oldies, and sweat from wrapped fear, and squeaky and bent. Watch how you bike it, kid. Easy on the either side. Narrow wins the egg white way. The house said wins. Toss it. There's junk. There's space junk way high, way dark. There's maybe a snapped off way of receiving commands or war news in permanent clocking, no time, float, gag. Ditto this child. Lost in the deep, walk caustically and carry a big drink. Her Great Lakes lungs, him in his toothpick canoe. Fat bull she was. She had that crass, almost stroking out stare. She tetanized him and him. That garden tear lit on fire at night, like a hand unleashed from the front row. A mind's a cool moon flower. Totally worm-free. Ma'am, it was indelicate George Washington after the war and carried away. It was shallow, woody, toothy slivers. It was barely born baby minnows, grease bolt quiet in her neck. And now it's morning, and friends of hers holding a needle in a working flame. Amazing what the eye will fasten to and interpose. And intercom a throat, and stucco holes, and poor tune maple style. Fasting or broke, card the spokes to treat the ride to growl. Just a little line in the grain. Is it wrong to say the woods flow where water once stole and stowed? 20 feet of boarded up river, smiling ancient finned one, or mawkish desertification. Just lash, shrive me. She had cabin wood wall blank. She had that steerage class with the grip, that feeling just looking. She was chewing green from where you might dart a sea gear tomorrow. My greenback went belly up, took the bloat, couldn't help the devil freckle flies, like hectic and tick took a cur to the ball. Those two knots in the popboard eyes, you just better hold off with that right now. Holds you with her howler stare, how turn the skulker stone, bakes the pea right over into amber as I was staying down at Evaporator's Junction, down and down to a kernel so lone as I was one curcoin of field corn, about a fourth of the way down the chast gullet of a carpenter's only hen, of Drake Kings on four-letter ponds. For a fly swatter she had yard geese what walked walls, of welts on water, cut a grain of sand, and you'll see, a la farmer in town, a whole lot of hard folks flashing unrequited piners at definite locales. About a quarry was once a mountain glory, bacon, maypop salad, you know, a plastic cake you sit on and it tells you, you're all right, you're all right. Poor dog, while he was eating, call it inhaling, sounded like walking on light bulb glass. That's good Crier's glass. You can step on it and hardly know. That type glass is his friend to sand. Feeds sack patch on a square-cut dress. Swears to the black hole effect. Like a cartoony, you plus me, knifed in a sapweed pine. Honey, honey, hush and hear the bells of December and July along the elephantine shoulder blades of the oxen through a cold, mist-heaped morning. Gentle giants exhaling mastodon stomach linings or guardian humors or cartoon caption sacks without a word, when to drag was to sup with peace before trains crossbred men with strangers and stood up the atmospheres. And what birds there were sooner walked than flew, and the sound of someone far off coughing like two blind boys playing catch with chestnut husks on through a gummy timber. The large do not walk, they lumber. Your sweetheart pines straight out of you. Billet a hog gong, billy a deeper root. They slow as through a caro air. We flit, why ride? We hearts fast apple. Every windy honey is a horse's mouth pushed through the ribs. Everybody knows it's sweeter this side. Once upon a dime, stored in the tallow of the living whale, they say her having hanged the country god. Crunch, crunch, they say the rest of her days, dimes winked one and another like a drooling slot machine. From her belly button, they say her floor was knee-deep in 10 cents. They say those who slipwalk through, if they had sense, wore magnets for taps. Say those were they that knew the sound of silver. Was it the anti-simper sureness of pounding nails, or metal on paint? Honey, watch it. Yes, I know it, and I'm sorry. This corner will let me clear. There's one vain door when walking to the water. There's one hand-drunk door come to see itself in a cow-shit stream. You had the feeling every ripple was lake wake off a pit bull belly flaw. Should she hollow out a hill with her laugh? Should she have that feeling of retrieving from a great wide lonesome? In her eyes were war, in her eyes were an idiot boy come down to a river. Mama, looky, that water's on fire. Tries his best to beat the silver sun off the giggling ripples with what straightness and heft is left in that door. Beyond the boarding house, her business, her fact, and she shepherded that. That's such season. That's such a sad line, right? Her business, her fat, and she shepherded that. Good grief. That was too much. Such she's of it. Another child in seam. A meadow she had the energy to pee behind a tree in. He heard the train's geometrical proofs for the stars as peewees. In a briar with a window on ice, he heard her solid disappointments. His ticket-red lungs, maybe. Spittle projectile. Maybe moony beer mirror. Maybe back when spilled milk was a big deal. It's true. He was unloved inside. Try California to Cape Girardeau from her. Try Bakersfield to Baked Alaska on a cruise ship in the mouth of a retiree dead in 81 days. Yet his bones grew on, stretched and met 9/10 forgotten in from the navel. Potter's wheel, plumb lonesome, that spat in his low back where the bone and nerve sure sugar should have been. You couldn't hear if her heart was exchanged with the one she swept flat. The good ones do that. Give melon in talk and lift, yes, lift the lawn chair off uneven ground. Badminton, birdie, feather bat, heart through the air, wants earth, loves air, trusts once, back and stretch, and wrist flick it back, and watch that dog circling mess. Get back, her heartbeat wrecked in her fat, stretched and met nothing but her stacked slab like a broke-off spear in the lamps of a whale. If you don't get the signal, you can't kneel. Your beak deep lights damps. Your ship will knee wreck. I'll leave my lamplight low. Leaves off for under the thunder in a silenced bass swollen with heartbeats. Heartbeats were red-faced men in wooden carts through ruts that threatened to bring up lunch with whiskers like fanned-out tail feathers of courting birds taped to their sweating, and them giving the rears of the horses hell with whips like fly fishermen in hell. As the storm clouds make a fool out of Mount Rushmore on high, this lightning presiding. And if the world of oceans, for all of its lay-arounds side to sides, let's say, is composed of tracking belts, definite fluttering ruts, do what you will with your tail. You are born for the motion you are born for. The blackout dream a road is, bound by blackstrap molasses, once upon a boarded downtown window. Graffiti flash coins a mural glad. The lighter slipped in his pocket. The slider menu, folks, is on the back. Paint rash, ghost hand, through silk size, large, see my middle name. Fastball, leather dream. That one shook the chain link backstop for about 45. Sleeps in the teeth of the UFO monster. So much softer. This old slawfoot who's it on the back of a snowshoe hare, full of snowshoe hares. Feeds the coyote, the pharmacists for sky. They pill the high and pacer yodels. Was what got on him. Was her dressing down her fool man's spinelessness. We are what we hear. The ears like kids at water fun parks. Go down the blood, slap the heart, the meat of the heart. Tender eyes or terracotta. If you sleep in the meadow next to cow's mouth, you cudgel. If you live next to wolf's lips, you yard so cowl. If all the world was fish and fish, he wouldn't have a pin to bend to hook, just one pissant bullhead in the eye. If it was raining sheep, they would have already boiled his fold for the soup's dark flavor. And it makes sense that the one you marry is the one you mar. Misdialed darling, I thought I was nodding off, but they took it for the seas, huzzah. When my chin see pressed, I thought Piper got sand sea on the line. Such is the vast hasp backbench in all those cars, and laying down to save his back, while the others never walked the balance beam. Tongue fling, no fletch. You know the pop trot mouth people. You know the 9-10, either weather, war, or the wrongs, or the barbecue is but 9 miles on that foam that laid a little softer too on the small of his back. The French have one word for all these words. Honk, 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 honk. That foam made after the war, when we was all just bouncing to happy land. Great, ingrate, ma and ma, calf, leech plant, square at the small. Killed him from day one. Or she tried, oh she tried, but it's hard to guide a chicken feather in a dust devil with teats cry quicksilver down the buttonholes of them for whom black and unborn criers call post-war foam home. Mountains plus erratic minds equal adios. Measured breaths down in there in some Apache valley, lonely creek bed locked in a fennel kiss, with them slipshod moonlights and a relatively flat road, and all their front seats slipshod cheddar. Wouldn't know a tree from the weather. Every tree is 90 switches. Every tree sleeps an oar. Here's a claw like a horny tear. Whittle it awake, dear. Whittle it awake. Whistles, cardinals, bingo, dauber wins. A paddle and a padlock pond. Silver fox, paddle home. Cross lines, blessed friends, gathered here today around this toe poking out from this tungsten gurney, like a thumbs up from death. We got you covered, preens to white linen, over a misdial is just beige gowns on pious motors. I think the body is an abacus, Push my nipple and I am of two minds. Kiss me, Miss O back seat, flat bench seat low, with that cowboy country God had in the back window, like a single white cake, when all at once a wing breaks, gleaming like a white cake wing, breaking straight line winds. His mama's heart, if you could believe, it was the first time he ear seen his mama's rat banjo in that one unwounded leg, like a musical saw without the cordwood. Or here comes the cordwood, jouncing, jouncing, back of a truck, but with what am I to pay? No pain, no papyrus country about a mama was an orbiting rabbit caught by a hind leg and a mean old steel star. Pal of mine is snapped the thump thump, pain of white, trying to climb what it can't live off long. In vain, wait ground, in vain, long free, shut it cow road. I am what they call in the song, in the cold river in a sudden hot spot war, where the fork buck gone from the dogs, where he took a pee, is its own onerous trap, sordid, scared, tent flap. No, I am so tired. No, let this one brief sweet be. There's a long poem. Thank you.